the Island Museum, and it's May the 9th, 1994. And we have two gentlemen here, Patrick Clark and Roy Fulton. And they were in the Army Signal Corps stationed on Anna Maria Island from 1943 to 1944. Now, Mr. Fulton is on our left, right? Left. And Mr. Clark is on our right. So, would you tell us, how about Mr. Fulton, when you arrived here on the island and exactly what the Army was doing here and where it was?
I come from Camp Crowder. That's where I had basic training, and we originally was supposed to be radio operators in Camp Crowder. That's what they were trying to train us for. But there was a bunch of us flunked out because we didn't like the code. So they shipped us down at Drew Field, about 600 of us, and put us into the radar division, some of us in the radar. And Pat and I, and there was about a dozen of us were cadre, and we were
sent down as instructors.
They taught us to be instructors. They brought this radar down from Belmar, New Jersey, and put the towers up and installed it. And this one fellow I can remember yet was Joseph Cotton. He was the instructor that taught us the radar. And we taught different outfits. One of them was a 714th Signal Aircraft Warning Battalion Company. And they originally went to, after we taught them, they went to Germany. And whatever happened to 714th, we don't know. But I come back in September '44, and they told me that I was transferred. I'd have to put my duffel bag, go into Drew Field. Our headquarters in Drew Field was our camp, where the airport is now. So Lieutenant McFarland told me, he says, take your duffel bag and you stay with the Jeep or surrounding territory, but don't go in with me in the orderly room, because this one fella had it in for us. He was transferring into the infantry. All the Air Corps they could get on kind of the Battle of the Bulge was going on in Germany. And I had special training, and Lieutenant McFarland, after 4 hours, he managed to talk him out of me being transferred. I was married and had a baby boy, and he talked him out of it, and I come back out here in about maybe a month. October, could have been close to October. We went back to Drew Field, which was our headquarters, and that was when the base was shut down. From there, they sent us out to send me out to 2 weeks of combat training at Safety Harbor. And that was a rough 2 weeks, if I remember right. I nearly got bit by a strong rattler snake, just a foot from my arm. So it shocked him. He said, don't move your arm away, he says, and whack, he took and cut the snake's head off right with a foot of my arm, striking distance, way out in the sticks. And Pat, he was a truck driver. He didn't get into the training. He drove truck between the field. He brought the supplies out.
I brought the supplies out to that outfit.
We had, the rest of us had a rough 2-week training, combat training. And from there on, we went back to Drew Field, our headquarters. They shipped us out to Plant City, way out in the sticks. And had made a month training out there. And from there, we come back to Drew Field and went over the closings. Pat was with me from all the way from Camp Crowder. And I left Japan, Philippines to Japan, We
I
took
went
over.
into Leyte, or I mean into New Guinea first, remember?
Well, yeah, we refueled the ship.
Refueled at New Guinea.
Okay, let's get back to the island. Exactly where were you on the island? Were there barracks here on the island?
When we moved out here, we brought tents with us, and we were right on the more or less the north end of the island.
Up near the North Point?
Yeah, using this main road, the only road that was going out there, near the North Point out there. And we put up maybe 10 or 15 tents.
Let's start this.
Here,
Yeah, so-
Sharon.
Yeah.
Where's your picture?
Let's turn around here. We'll get this on.
And,
the
where did your people?
mayor welcoming.
We both
Get your picture.
on 53rd Avenue, out around 14th Street and Main Street.
Right.
He lives just up on
Going
O'Neill.
across the street.
Yeah. What were you, Navy or?
Are you shooting?
Army
Signal
Signal
Corps touched the Air Force.
Which Air Force were you testing?
That was second down here. wasn't it?
Field was the third one, at that.
Second or third, I forgot.
Third, I believe.
And
I
we
was
ended
on the
up,
Air Force.
then we ended up in the 5th and the 13th
Oh,
overseas.
We were in 5 different Air Forces.
yeah, well, I was with the 8th and 9th Air Forces.
We were in 14th,
We ended up in Japan.
third.
Oh, you ended up in Japan?
Yeah.
I got to know it's working on this wonderful project, but it's really nice to, because we heard a lot of rumors and we're trying to find out who was here, who wasn't here, and what the embattlement, what those, what we had, what do you say, there were gun places?
They're not, I found
They're-
out, from they're not gun emplacement, they were radar towers.
They were
Yeah,
radar.
basically.
105-foot wooden radar,
And,
transmitter and receiver towers.
and one was big for a big fuel tank, which I don't know if fuel tanks ever got in there or not, because we were moving out, you know.
Okay, that's right. And was there a USO group down there?
Yes, down at
The women.
on the corner down here,
Yeah,
they got together and got us a USO group, and we had dances down there, and,
and where the playhouse is?
yeah, that was,
That was City Hall.
that was city, yeah, and we,
Right.
They had plays there too.
yeah, they had plays and little
Well, that's
action,
one-
they
that's
sent
one-
down entertainment.
Right. Are any of the women that did that still alive? You know?
He's got the name.
Mrs. Blassingame was the head of the realty. She was the one who was the head of the service club.
She was.
She died, I don't know how many years ago.
Yeah,
Her
but-
husband was a writer.
All
I
right,
remember
lots of you.
he wrote books.
This is a great story. It really is an important part of history of
Like I
the...
was telling Katie, the biggest one was when I saw this big black snake cross down here on this side of the church. See, this road was only about 12 feet wide,
Yeah,
and it was lined with palm trees, pretty coconut palms on both sides.
right.
And I was going to the camp about 6 o'clock in the evening, it must have been about 4 to 6, while I was
Right.
going for guard duty. And this big black snake crossed the road, and it was as long as the road was wide. I stood there in amazement, only about 20 feet away from it, it was big as my arm right there. And I exaggerating on that.
Yeah. Well, we do a little better. Nowadays, we have people keeping pythons as pets. So,
Well, this was
Yeah, I remember
what
that.
I thought.
so we have 18 feet long, and we have little dogs that are missing now and then. So we have other things that
We
are
were,
taken.
when we were sleeping in tents, it was pretty dangerous, we was right
Well,
on
this
the edge
was-
of the swamp there, with,
Well, wasn't Normal Key called Snake Island?
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah, they were called Snake.
The fellow told me when they cleared Holmes Beach, they had big brush piles, see,
Right.
and I worked with Don American Brewing Company. He told me, Roy, he said, I went up there one day and he burned those brush piles, and he said, you'd be surprised the rattlesnakes that come on that brush pile, and said, I must have shot about 8.
Have you been, will you be here for the centennial?
Yeah, they're gonna be on.
we both live here. We
They
both
live here.
No. Roy come down and moved back down here, he was living just,
Down here 520
Are they
for.
gonna be on the
They
VFW
come to
front?
the street.
All right, will they be on?
They'll be around.
On the VFW front?
I think maybe some
Right.
people, and I think it would be great if Carol or George or someone get in touch with Jim Cronus. Jim Cronus is our elementary principal of the elementary school, and maybe go down there one day and talk to the kids in the second, third, and fourth grade. And if I know anything about children, they'll love the story about the snake.
That ain't the only thing that we saw.
No, well, you're, okay, well, listen, I have to run, my pleasure, it's my honor to.
Glad to meet you,
Yeah,
sir.
thanks.
Worst mosquitoes you ever saw, just swarms and swarms of them. And at that time yet, I don't think they'd come out with this DDT, because we didn't have that to spray at that time. And when we moved in them tents, naturally we had to have they sent about 10 tents down with us, and we put the tents up, and we slept in the tents, and we had mosquito nettings. But them mosquitoes were so bad at night that you got a few of them in your netting, you were just going to get chewed up.
Yeah.
And then gradually they went from there, and then wasn't well, a few months after that, I think, wasn't it, Roy? They sent some outfit down here and they built us some barracks. We had about 4 or 5 buildings, and they made a mess hall and barracks to live in, and a couple barracks for platoons to come down training for radar.
Now, was this all at the north point of the island?
Right.
All your tents and barracks and all?
Yeah, it was right off the road,
Uh-huh.
right, built right on both sides of the road. We had one side of the road they put the barracks, and the other side we had our, what they call it, the headquarters building.
And how many men were there? How many men did you
There was
have?
only a dozen cadre.
I would say we had about a dozen cadre men. We were instructors, we had maintenance men and motor pool men, and me and Roy were radar operators.
Was there a lookout station up there? I've heard about looking for German submarines around Avon or something.
We never saw nothing ourselves, but we had our patrols out every night. We patrolled the beach from one end to the other, way around, I don't know, a couple thousand yards, till we bumped into the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard come walking from the other end of the island until we would meet. That was our turning point right there. But we didn't have much manpower, so we'd only have one man on guard duty at a time. Well, then they, as we got organized and got our then they sent this radar tower down. We got that up and got that in service. And then they started sending down platoons out of Drewfield, Florida for training. And they would come down here for a couple weeks sometimes. It depends on how fast they were moving the troops around. We had one outfit come in one night and pulled out the next morning, didn't they? They were stripping the outfits down. I think that's when the Battle of the Bulge was going. They were putting everyone in infantry. But we stayed there and survived that, and stayed there as instructors off and on, from then on. And this one time, we were talking about this rum washed ashore. And
Was that down Brandon Beach?
the whole island, it was practically the whole half of the island, I would say. I don't know where the ship was. And the barrels, we got up in the morning, here was barrels out on the point and all over.
What'd
And
you do with
rum,
that?
full of 50-gallon drums, weren't they, Roy?
110 proof.
Did you have a party?
Oh my gosh, everyone was breaking into them. I think the whole island did. And then we had so many of them, they called in the revenue service, and they come out and picked up all the barrels.
Well, did that boat sink out in the Gulf, or
No,
what
I
happened?
understand they got it loose, didn't you?
They dumped
They loosened the barrels up, to get enough weight off it, I
off the
understand.
sandbar.
Oh,
Off the sandbar to get it loose. And so but we ended up with a few barrels, the guys buried out in the sand, and they had plenty of drink. And we used to go down to the service center here they had dancing and a place to lounge around.
All right, now that was right up here at the end of Pine Avenue?
Right where the playhouse.
Playhouse is.
Right on the very corner. That was,
And what did they do up there?
We had dances up there, we had a old Victoria, wasn't it a play box or something, we got music on it.
Plays.
And they'd have plays, and we'd get a little entertainment coming down out of Drew Field, like the USO, I imagine. And not only our outfit, for the ones that was in training, they had the use of that island too. And we all registered in, which I forgot all about that, and that's why I understand where they found our names. One of the first ones that is registered in the service center book down there. And
Was there a gun or something up at the North Point, a large gun that was mounted up there?
no, we never did see a gun. And it had to be, it was after we left, which I doubted at that time, because we left in '44, and I understand it was closed up not too long after that. We did pour a lot of concrete because we were going to mount a big fuel tank for our diesel motor. And then we had a water tower tank that we put up, and they might have been them stanchions that would be made of concrete from them. Or maybe the radar tower itself might have had some foundation of concrete on it.
They had steel plates.
They had steel
Katie
plates in
said
it.
they're still up there.
Oh, but as far as we know, there were no gun replacements there.
Was there a tower up there, a lookout tower, something like that?
No, nothing like that, just our own radar tower that we put. We had two towers that went up. And one was a transmitting tower and one was a receiving tower.
And one day, we had a mock raid. They had 500 airplanes come over. Fighter planes, B-17s, every kind of airplane. I don't know where they formed at, but they all come out of the Gulf. I picked them up 150 miles out in the Gulf, and it took them an hour. And you never heard such a noise in your life as all those 500 airplanes come over Amber Island over the bay out there.
And what was that point they used to bomb out here?
Passage Key.
Passage Key, I think. Now, we used to have, every day we'd have flights of planes that would come out of Sarasota Air Base down there for gun practice and bombing raids. And they'd come in flights and bomb this island out here. Every once in a while, someone wouldn't make it. The plane would bounce off the island and out into the Gulf. And we used to have a transit, is that what they call them? For surveying.
Where was that?
We had one out there where you could look through that, they call them transit?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what they call them. Well, we'd spy that right in on the plane, and then the Coast Guard would be notified. They'd be out there just fast they could to try to rescue them. But I don't know how many planes that had crashed that we'd seen. Plenty of them that would. Then there was the B-51s that come out of Drew Field, Florida.
B-51s.
They come on bombing runs.
No, they come out Sarasota.
Was that Sarasota?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know they had some B-40s.
What were they bombing around here?
Practice, just the island.
But they were real bombs?
No, they were dud bombs.
They were white, looked like flower bombs.
Yeah,
But they had the 50 caliber machine guns was tracer bullets. And some of them would bounce off and you could see them go up in the air. And every time they come in, I know they kill thousands of birds because the birds, you could just see them.
It's like there.
But they'd start where the Sunshine Skyway Bridge is now, and they'd come down about 450 miles an hour on a 45-degree dive, right over top of the water, and then they'd start to go like that. In the last second, they'd come down.
Yeah. A lot of inexperienced pilots at that time, you know, you could tell them even before they started into their dive that it wasn't going to look too good on some of them, you know. And we had a bird's eye view of that right off the front of our barracks there.
I used to go up a tower when I had class. I'd go up a tower when I see them come in, and there was always 4 of them in one squad. And I'd go up a tower when I see them come in where the Sunshine Skyway was burning out, and I'd go up the tower, and boy, they'd start I don't know how many times they come around.
One of our friends that couldn't make it with us today, his eyesight's getting bad, he lives up in Riverview. He married a girl that was Philip's store, just down about where the IGA store was.
Carol Phelps, her signature is in that book.
Yeah, hers is in there. And he married her, and they had the wedding at this church right
The old church.
here.
Rosa Church.
My memory is getting kind of faded back right now, but I remember the wedding they had. In fact, we had 2 or 3 guys that ended up marrying some of the women on the island before they got out of here.
There weren't very many people on the island.
No, at that time, their main street was just about a few cottages and then a few side streets. They weren't very many cottages. Most everything was maybe down on Bradenton Beach at that time with the old wooden bridge.
And one day we was coming from Blue Field in the truck, and somebody come running out down where the Holmes Beach Gulf Drive was the only main road. They come on and says, "Help, come," says, "there's somebody drowning out here." And an old lady about in her 60s and her 2 grandchildren drowned. And they had her up on the beach, and the water was rough. They shouldn't have been out in the water. And her face was purple already. I knew she was dead. And the two grandchildren, I don't know whether they found them a few days later or not. Never did hear if they ever found them or not.
I don't know. We never had too much telephone transportation around at that time to keep up with everything too good, you know, just within our own post and so. And we had a little guard post out there, just I would say just about the end of where the park started. When you say the north end of the park?
Where the north end of the big front park.
Yeah, we had a little guard, little shack there we put up at the guard post.
One day I was on guard duty there at the main gate. The MPs brought a bunch of dogs out from Bradenton. And I says, "What you gonna do with them?" "Well, we heard you like dogs out here, so we're gonna give you a few." I says, "Take them back." I said, "We don't want them." And I was armed with a 45 automatic pistol. And so they dumped them off right away. And this one big old black dog, he hung around this little guard shack, was only about that big square, and just was green around it. And he was frothing at the mouth, and I thought he may have rabies. So I called up Lieutenant Shroop, and I said, "Lieutenant, what do you want me to do?" He says, "Use your own judgment." I know what he meant when I used my own judgment. So I shot him in the head, within 4 feet of him, 3 times I shot him in the head. He just bellowed and run over in the swamp. We never saw him after that. So I think he went over and died. But I couldn't take no chance of walking out and getting bit.
And then eventually they recalled us back to our headquarters in Drew Field, and we both ended up getting shipped overseas, which we happened to be, us two seemed to be staying together pretty good all through the war till we, and Roy is from Wadsworth, Ohio, wasn't it? And I was from Detroit, Michigan at that time.
Okay, do you all have any questions you'd like to ask to Tom? Bob?
No, I don't have any questions.
We're trying to relate how the island was in the days that when they were stationed
They
here.
were both signed into the USO book, and they should maybe take a picture of this one.
So how about take it over from them?
Well, where did you go?
There was no bridge across the Longboat Key, and the Cortez Bridge was a rickety wooden bridge.
You still on?
Mm-hmm. What do you want to do?
He wants to show this
This is
book.
the book they were signed in.
You know what I wanna
USO.
Here's Earl.
I want Dennis to take a picture, but I want to be with these 2 guys and point.
From England.
The Belmar, New Jersey, where it come from.
Is that trash there, Carol? Yeah.
You got the right film for him?
Were they here?
He's gonna load it
When did
into
they
his
come
camera,
out?
he's
Do you
going
know
to get another
about
one.
what year?
Oh,
they
okay.
came out?
We're taping now. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see, about, yeah. it's
I
right
gotta take
after
them
we got there.
I gotta take them around the island, we're gonna visit different places where the gun emplacements
We
were.
had nothing.
He's taping.
This, these ERU units they claim is what
What you hear there,
saved the
Earl?
Battle of Britain over there. They
Oh.
got them units over there first.
This is probably the only one on the
And,
west
yeah,
coast.
so they, sent some over here,
You were looking for air and U-boats or just air?
mostly aircraft, mostly tracking aircraft.
I did pick airplanes up down in Burlington Beach one day on a low rate, only 6.5 miles away, and no one got out of the receiving room, and there they were flying up over the tower.
Right over there, yeah.
A-24.
Oh, they were trainers?
Trainer. I picked them up, 6.5, the closest I ever picked up any airplane. I did pick that knocked airway up 150 miles out, clear out the end of the scope. It made the whole scope shake. I knew that was a max rate.
Did you ever, any indication there were enemy planes nearby or? I don't think.
No, we never did,
That U-boat, I don't believe the U-boat,
I heard I hear all kinds of stories about U-boats.
it could have been, but I don't remember it.
I can remember one night I was on guard duty,
I got the other one.
and the Marines had some dogs stand by the transmitter tower, and the lightning struck that guy wire, and you think the lightning went down. This lightning went across right straight in front of me.
Oh, boy.
Just, I remember it was only within 20 feet of me. And I had rubber glue lashes on there, we had rubber glue lashes sometimes. That place saved my life.
Now, were you in how big a tower were you in? Did you keep a visual lookout too, or were you on the ground with the radar?
We had a receiver room enclosed,
Okay, and it was on the ground level?
ground level, yeah, power, wooden power line.
The receiver.
Okay, let's try it again. Wait till they're through with the now.
Okay. Stop.
How were you out here actually on the island station? Some of these I probably missed because I came in.
Okay, we were just come out here about, I'll let you say, Roy.
March of 43 and September of 44. 18 months we were stationed there.
18 months. What did you think of it out here? Let me ask you that.
Well, pretty rough. Well, we were young in days and rough, and you went along with everything, you know.
Yeah.
You ate your meals out of a rainstorm and had to dump half the water out of your mess kit. And then 4 days before we even got any shelter up. I can remember some of them meals like that. And always worrying about the scorpions or some darn thing biting in the mosquitoes. Something biting you all the time, it seemed like.
Sand fleas too.
Yeah, we were in training. And we remember our officer's name. I remember 3 of them. Lieutenant Sloop was my commanding officer. Lieutenant Fulton was, or McFarland was your officer, wasn't he? And Lieutenant Rainsford, yeah. He was.
Did you get into town on livery regularly?
Yeah, we'd have a certain amount of days off. We'd go into the bars. That's about all you could do them days.
Were there bars out here too? Did you?
There was one, they called Todd's, right? On Bradenton Beach, that's the road where the old wooden bridge come in there.
Oh, sure.
They call that Todd's. And on this end of the island, they had the one where the anchorage is right now. The old original name was Anchorage.
Yeah.
Just a little old wooden building with a bar in it.
How was radio reception? Pick up the radio pretty good?
Yeah, we could get a lot of, our radio receptions would, we could get a lot of Cuban stations.
Oh.
And from there, most of it was in the Cuban and Spanish language. But we could pick that up pretty good.
music was was it a little different than?
Yeah, a little style now, yeah. And our style of music was different from the big band area, you might well say, in 43
Yeah.
and 44, altogether different style now.
Did you get out on the beach when you had a chance to?
Yeah, we go down there on the beach and do our exercises and calisthenics, then we'd always go into a swim. And,
Tell them what they did. I took we'd take mattress covers and put it on the beach and blow them up with there, and then they'd float out in the Gulf. And one day I was floating on the mattress cover, and here come Pat swimming alongside. He says, "Boy," he says, I'm getting winded." I said, "I don't think I'm gonna be able to swim back." So he climbs aboard, and all the air goes over the mattress cover, and it was flat, and everywhere about 500 feet out.
yeah, we were, yeah.
We
got
managed
back.
to get back to the beach.
I was no swimmer. And we got back in okay.
Any sharks around in those days?
No,
we didn't see any.
we didn't see any sharks. We saw plenty of porpoises them days. A lot of shells on the beaches, even all around, yeah, all around the north end. There was plenty of shells at that time. And I think the beach itself was further out. Maybe, seemed to me maybe
I
another.
figured 500 feet.
Wider,
Yeah.
wider beach.
Yes, I think it was.
Did you go fishing at all?
We just puttered around, most of it didn't. Some of them did, they went down to the city pier here and fished off of there, most of the guys. They kept us pretty well busy during the daytime, you know, in training. We had different shifts, and while some was sleeping, the other ones were in training. And,
We had 6-hour shifts where we would train the different platoons. And the midnight shift was the fellows on the radar scope, they'd fall asleep. And I'd walk in on them. I say, "Now if you were in combat," I said, "you'd get court-martialed for falling asleep at the scope." And of course they would kind of stir around then, and maybe I'd go back in a while later, and there they were asleep again.
That was the days, you know, before air conditioning or,
Yeah, they say we in combat. I said, well, you
I don't think we even had any fans in the barracks or nothing.
Were you here in the summer?
Yes, we was in the summertime too.
So it was hot.
One summer.
It was pretty hot, yeah.
Did they allow you to relax the dress code any? I mean, could you wear shorts or lighter shirts, t-shirts?
We wore fatigues most of the time, but when we went into town, we had to wear our dress shirt.
Oh, yeah.
And they did at that time, for a short period of time, we went into our winter uniform. They even made us do that, but that got so hot, they canceled that after, gosh, I don't think we even had a month of that. And they let us go back into our summer uniform.
Have you been here, have you been back to the island since those days?
Yeah, after I returned home to Detroit, I got remarried and about, I'd say maybe 55, 56, we decided to take a trip down to Florida. And just quick as we come out here, my wife loved the island. So I don't know how many times we've been back, 10 or 12 times on vacation time here, and different motels along the island.
It's changed a bit, hasn't it?
Yeah, it sure has at that time, yeah. And Roy, he come back here after the war. I don't know what year he come back.
63.
63. And he settled down here.
Yeah, I lived right down there. And I come back in 54 the first time after I got out of service and talked to Jack Holmes. And I can remember one time he told me, he says, "If you got $300 so you can buy some lots." Can you imagine that?
No, I can't.
I can remember him telling us, yeah.
I worked for his son Hugh, 2 years on construction in 73 and 74. So Holmes family was really friendly family.
And out of all of our group and things, we lost track of each other with addresses and things through the years. So me and Roy and Francis Kinney, that lives in Riverview, we're the only three that remains that we know of out of the original bunch. How many are still alive or where they live, we don't know anymore.
I'd say 50% are probably dead.
Things have drifted through the past.
Any other questions?
I think that's it. I think that's it, yeah.
That's about it.
The-
I
Okay.
guess maybe
You
if I
want to
may.
get the book over to them? I don't know if we
What
got
do you think of the
you.
island now, James?
Oh gosh, it's a heaven, we still like it. Yeah, I think it's a beautiful
Here's the book
island.
again with your names. I don't know, do you want it on?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Tell about what that book is now.
Uh,
What is that book?
You wanna tell them, Roy, that this
Yeah,
is
this is a service center register book. We went into service center like, that was actually a USO service center. We signed the letters when we went in. And all these different people, not a lot of these was not any soldiers that we trained. A lot of these were people that went into the service club.
Some of them, yeah.
Like
Some
Frank
of the closer.
Sinatra and Franklin Roosevelt Jr., evidently they went in, I never saw that. I was on emergency furlough, I think, at that time. So they were there.
His name's in there.
And I think we only registered in one time, if I remember right. I see my
There was
signature.
somebody here
I've been in
that-
there 100 times, so I think we just registered the one time.
There was somebody that had a couple signatures in this.
This is the old ledger book that we registered in on.
Where was that book found, Earl?
I found that book in the old firehouse on Oak Street. That and one of the first mayors of Anna Maria. And of the bunch of them that I gave you, you know, the whole, that stack, I had them where they bought property for 50 cents a lot and back taxes and $1 a lot.
Yeah,
And at one time, the Fairbanks Morris Pump Company owned 90% of this island. They had bought it for taxes, and then when things got rough, they even were in bad shape too at that time. So they turned around and let it go. But in that book, there's a paper, if you want to show it, unfold it, and it shows a property that was sold here in 1926. It's in the back of there, it's pulled up, it's a Bradenton Herald, way in the back. No, it's
Back further. Oh,
There it
this
is.
yellow one? Uh-huh.
that's the yellow one.
Oh, that's a,
You can tell the date on that, that's in 1926, and it's scratched off where people bought different pieces of property for $1.50.
$1.50,
Wasn't that,
yeah.
You know, Jack Holmes, he come down in 1935, and after that hurricane hit, 1935 hurricane, he told me that he rebuilt these cottages for people and rented them for a year and to get his money out of them. That was the money he got for rebuilding them, and he run them for a year and then give them back to the owner. And also Jack Holmes told me, now this is an important thing. Now, Jack Holmes told me that Roy, there'll never be able to curb erosion on the island the way they're doing it. He says the only way they'll ever curb erosion is by building breakwaters
way out.
out in the Gulf
Right.
to break that the undertow.
Right.
see
Now,
this,
there was a smart man. He had foresight.
see this newspaper is dated Monday, June the 28th, 1926. It's a Bradenton Palmetto paper.
That's 2 years after I was born.
Yeah, that's a pretty old newspaper there, yeah.
How about that?
That was in that book. Now in the back of that book, there's some names, I think, from Cortez. Open it way up in the back, there's some people signed their name. If you look in there close, on the last page, it says something about Cortez.
Oh yeah, I see that. I have a few of them, yep.
Maybe you know them, I don't know.
Well, I certainly thank you
Okay.
both for coming out and being with us this morning.
Okay, well, sure
and
glad we could help what we did there, and
Gave us a lot of information.
And,
Appreciate it.
kind of a little thin and forgetting a lot of things, you know, what actually happened, but
Yeah, we-
it gives you a rough idea. Then we did have a unit out here. Yeah, we did.
You know, they made a movie when I'm on with you.
I know that, Bester Williams.
Right.
Was that when you were here?
That was in 1946 after I got out of the army and went back to
Oh,
Ohio when I got out. But that, Jack Holmes told me about that movie. When I
Yeah.
come back in '54, and she swam at Jack Holmes' swimming pool.
Oh,
And my boys, my two boys, swam in the same swimming pool, and they couldn't get over that.
Ah.
They swam in the same swimming pool that Esther Williams swam.
yeah. That's something. Well, thanks again. I think we're gonna end the
Okay, well,
interview now.